the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians, and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
One of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Wheaties! I got weed pots!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Stolen Appetit with your host. As always, it's me, Kip, and across the screen, I got CB. CB, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Coming off a good weekend. And just got done with skiing in time to chat with you for a minute.
Yeah, as you know, March is gearing up, which means we have some awesome events coming down the pike. Everything from March Madness, which we'll talk to, but also our new dinner series, which we'll discuss as well. But before we get into anything, including how the mountain was or how the weather's looking, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. First, our friendly friends, or whatever, our friends over at Seed & Smith. We'll pretend like I cut that out, but I didn't. It's a new month, but they have killer deals going on. So March, for those that are listening, I just got the one sheet. Both of their locations, they've got dealers of the month, featured brands that are not their own, but also they're having killer deals on their wax, their flour, their cartridges. So if you get the chance, go to either Seed & Smith location, the one on Oakland Street or the one up at 1413 Hecla Way in Louisville. Both of them are knockdown, drag out, fantastic locations. We love the team over there, and y'all know I love my dart pen. I take that motherfucker with me everywhere. If we were doing March Madness of vape pens, it would definitely be in my top two. And it's not two, Chris. I fucking love it. That thing strokes like Christopher Reeves. And then so go over and check them out, www.seedandsmith.com. If you don't make it to either of their locations, you can actually buy their products across the metro area and in the mountains. So if you're listening to this in Grand Junction, there may be a spot for you as well. The best way to find out is by going to Seed & Smith's website. It's www.seedandsmith.com. And secondly, we've teased a couple of different events we got going on, and both of those events are sponsored by the same person that sponsors this podcast, and that's our friends over at Callie's Cannabis. Obviously, they're a mom and pop shop. Everything's grown here in Denver. They've got their hands dirty in a good way, with tons of new products and new flour coming on the shelves every single week. And they have different deals every single day of the week. So if you're a vape person, Thursday's your day. If you're looking to buy bulk of flour before you head up to the mountain or for the weekend of shenanigans, Friday flour sesh. All of the Callie's locations play by these games, and they have a rewards program to boot. So for every $1 you spend, you get $1 back, and eventually you can just have free weed too. They have 3 locations, Chris. Everybody knows it. North Glen, the one that's got great deals and puts out some fucking content and cartridges. Our location at Callie's Rhino, which, as you know, if you need a $1 joint card, holler at me, but those doors are open late. So if you're partying in the weekend, running around Rhino, showing your friends the art, that's the place to stop in. Don't go treading around fucking Live Well and get that Buster weed. And then the third location, if you're doing taco tours, maybe grabbing a bite to eat on Federal, right there at 7th and Kenosha Court. They've got a spot for everyone along the metro area. So that's why we love Callie's, but also about what we're about to talk about is another reason we love Callie's, Chris.
Yes.
But before we get into that, tell me a little bit about the mountain. How was your weekend?
Oh, the weekend was great. And actually, I'd like to give a shout out to Wheat Ridge Lanes. Are you a bowler now?
I mean, what was your number? What did you bowl? What did you roll? Whatever.
I was like Big Earn in Kingpin,
My hair looks like Big Earn today. I've washed it this morning, so I know no one can
get the nice comb over.
It looks like it.
I bowled. I think I threw up like 120 just for, I haven't been on the lanes in about 5 years. ever since that incident.
What incident? Do you have an incident?
It kept me out of the PBA. I don't know.
Goddamn rules, Judge. Foot faults my ass.
No, but
Donnie.
I mean, I forgot. Like, I haven't been in a while, but it's a fun way to get out, and like, it's not expensive. You can knock back a couple cold ones and throw some balls down some lanes.
You know, it does. There's so many movie quotes that come to mind, but it is just a kind of a good old fashioned hobby or fun activity to do. I live near the Wheat Ridge Lanes, and we recently did a double date over there. And I'm glad you did a very humbling comment of I bowled about a 120, which means you didn't go over 120. You would have said that number, and that means that there's probably not even an outlier, but a 91 is probably floating in the 2 or 3 games you got in. And I just want to say I love you for that, because I'm in that same boat, Chris.
Yeah, I threw a few strikes.
Yeah, and it's so rewarding when you're so bad at it. It's like being single and having sex. You're like, doesn't matter, had sex. You know, like if you have 1 strike out of 13 or 12 rolls or however many you get, it's a huge accomplishment. It's a huge W. So I respect that as one.
It's great people watching too. It's great people watching.
I mean, they were probably looking at you like, look at this spastic kid trying to roll a bowling ball.
Yeah, it's funny though. I guess I haven't, like, I always usually go with a group of people, but this time it was just Steph and I, and like 2 people. You can bowl through 3 games in like a fucking hour.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, I know you can't put the bumpers up, but if you get 2 golfers on the course together, they can knock out 18 holes really quick if you're not dealing with some scrubs. Like if you're going up there and knocking down pins and like waiting on your second ball, you can go through some games in the 1 hour that you pay for.
Yeah. And then let's see what else happened this weekend. We hit up Sushi Co after that.
Fuck yeah. They're in the bracket. They're going to be in the bracket.
Which was fucking great, as always. We went to the one on that side of town.
Berkeley Park?
Yeah.
It's next to one of my favorite wine bars, Vin Rouge. Shout out to Jen over there. She's a wizard.
Indeed. And then tied it off with some wontons on Saturday.
Okay, so for those that don't know, Jan Wonton, I'm sure everyone that's listening at least knows of her, but Penelope Wong, and I don't know her sous chef's name. I know her Instagram handle, but that's just corny to say that. But they are doing unreal work out of that food truck, and I wish they'd have a full-size kitchen, because I just want to be able to eat it all the time. But the key is you have to be prompt on the social media alerts for pre-ordering, people. If you can chance it with the walk-ups, but you're not going to get the whole gambit. The whole menu will not be available. So you've got, go follow them. It's YUAN Wonton, and they have a serious amount of followers, but they are doing serious fucking work.
It's so goddamn good. It really is. I mean, I don't know what to say, just that it's worth it, just like going to a place on a Saturday to pick some up. It's great.
Yeah, and they do them all. She does them all through the week. We need to get her in the food series as well. You know, she used to come from the fine dining side. So Penelope, if you hear this, we'd love to have you. But also we'd love to have you on this podcast. You know, let's talk dumplings, because they're definitely, you know, showstoppers, and they are also in the bracket, Chris. And so I guess we'll just kind of lead right into it. You know, for those that are listening today, we launched our March Madness bracket. There will start with technically 80 restaurants. We're going to take the 7 and 8 seed. There will be 8 regions spliced off into 8 restaurants. So we have Asian, Mexican, Italian. I call it Mediterranean / European, because like some restaurants need to be represented but didn't fit the mold nor have their own category of themselves.
Yeah.
Barbecue, sushi, stoner eats / sandwiches, and Americana. So we have 64 teams that will make an appearance starting next Tuesday as you listen to this, and we'll talk about it next week as well. But for those that are listening this week, we're doing the play-in games. So the 7 and 8 seeds from each of those regions will play the top 2 wild cards to see who get those final bids into the March Madness bracket, Chris. The best part about this whole thing is because it started off as just a fucking goof, like let's do it because we're degenerate gamblers and we love sports and competition. We ended up being able to wrangle our friends over at Callie's who, like we said, are members of the community, and they do discounts for those that work and live in the neighborhoods that they work around. Well, they're throwing their name in the hat, and they're going to give cannabis a buku amount to the winning restaurant. So everybody can, obviously cannabis is a safer option than alcohol. And we recommend everybody enjoy a little puff tough after a long, strenuous double shift. And so we want to be able to reward the team that, the community has recognized as fantastic. And so Callie's was more than willing to jump in and be like, well, yeah, we'd love to give a restaurant a bunch of dank weed. And then as the word kind of got out that we were going to be making this A+ March Madness bracket using our food palettes as the only beacon, Bar Green, Restaurant Supply, a lot of the restaurateurs and those that work in the restaurant industry here in Denver and in Colorado and in the Rocky Mountain region know this company because they are a fantastic ally. They don't do the everyday Cisco or US food style marketing ploys and large process like that. They build relationships in the communities and provide services and equipment to restaurants that are getting started or maybe have fallen behind or need some help. So that's why, when Bar Green reached out, we were jumping with joy because we love what they stand for and we know that they put out great products. So I know the winners will receive $500 credit to buy whatever they please. I don't know who we're going to allow to win that. Like, let's say Tavernetta, spoiler alert, makes it and wins it. Do we let Bobby have that? Or do we let the staff get to pick what they want?
We let the staff get to pick. Maybe
I agree. Bobby shouldn't get to pick whatever fun thing we find.
No, what could you buy with $500? Everybody.
It's nothing crazy, but it's supposed to be something fun. Like, you're not going to get a new fucking meat slicer, but you could get, something cool for the staff,
Yeah.
Or you could add it to an invoice or something, and maybe the staff gets a bunch of free drinks to complement their free cannabis. The best part about it is they can do with it as they please. We just want to be able to show them or thank them for being so great and, recognizing them in our silly stoner food community. And that's not even
so much shit you could get.
Yeah. And that's not even the best part, Chris. So while we do have those two badass gifts, the best is I'm looking at phallic hot dog shaped trophies that we will get embroidered and given to the winning restaurant. And so if somebody like a Pony Up or someone fun wins that, they may, brandish this award with honor. But let's say a Sushi Den wins, I bet you they throw that bitch in the fucking trash can. It'll be hilarious because it's going to be a little bit of an off-putting trophy.
Yeah, but maybe the manager, the GM keeps in the office or something. It's not like it's not going to be outlandish like a Guy Fieri's face, which I do love. By the way, we
love Guy Fieri. If he wants to get in and help us we should do a big check, something fun like that, and have Guy's face on that.
Yeah, or just do like a phallic hot dog
and call it Flavor Town,
Stoner Town.
Yeah,
Stoner approved.
Yeah,
right on your front window.
We maybe just have to give them a big marijuana leaf in gold. But yeah, so that starts tomorrow. Like we said, the teams that were picked, obviously you can't pick every great restaurant, and we couldn't just pick 64 best restaurants because then we wouldn't represent a lot of the city. And so we are going to get some guff, some kickback from folks that don't make it. And I want to say I'm sorry. But obviously, if we can only pick 8 from a genre, we try to do our best to whittle them down. And technically, it's 10 because the 9th and 10th will get to vie tomorrow and this week for it. But yeah, so
there's always next year.
And there's always next year. We don't use Yelp at all. We fucking hate that. We use that just for looking at locations, but not for actual Yelp reviews. So we're doing this based off of our personal views. And so if you have a problem with it, you can DM me, and you're more than welcome to come on this podcast and apologize for the mean things you said in the DMs. But that's not all we have coming up, Chris. We've got more to talk about. I just wanted to lead off with that because people are probably